No soul screamed when it arrived in her kingdom. That was the first horror. They crossed the gate still thinking they were alive, still hearing their last heartbeat echo inside their skulls, still believing pain would come later. But pain never greeted them. What greeted them was silence. A silence so heavy it pressed memories out of the mind like blood from a wound. Beyond the gate stood a throne watching from the dark, and on that throne sat a woman who had not blinked in 1,000 years. The storms above her realm never moved. Lightning froze in the sky like broken veins of light. Rivers of shadow flowed upward instead of down. Towers floated like drowned giants, chained to nothing. Time itself had been arrested there, as if fear had ordered the universe to stop breathing. Her name was Nyxara. Once, heaven spoke her name in prayers. Now, even angels avoided remembering it, because when Nyxara looked at a soul, fire did not burn it, memory did, and memory lasts forever. The gates of her hell were not made from iron or flame, but from regret hardened into stone. They opened only when a soul had nothing left to hide. When they moved, they did not roar. They whispered, the sound of lives cracking open. Beyond them stretched a kingdom without horizon, where black rivers crawled into the sky and shattered cities floated like corpses that refused to sink. At the center of this unmoving storm sat Nyxara. Her throne was carved from obsidian bone and broken crowns stolen from dead gods. Fire bent its voice near her. Demons did not breathe when she passed. Her skin glowed pale like moonlight trapped under ice, and her long dark hair spilled over armor older than creation itself. It was not her beauty that destroyed souls. It was her eyes. They did not glow. They reflected. Every soul dragged before her saw itself inside them. Not the hero, not the excuse, but the truth they had buried under pride. Knees collapsed without chains. Voices died without threat. Hell punished no one loudly, because Nyxara punished them quietly. She lifted one finger, and memory began. Kings relived betrayals they pretended were necessary. Lovers heard final words they were too afraid to speak. Warriors felt the terror they had hidden behind steel. In Nyxara's kingdom, torment was not fire. It was understanding that never ended. And as the storms watched from above, another soul was already crossing the gate, still believing courage meant something in hell. His name in life had been Aurelian, conqueror of cities, breaker of empires, beloved of heaven's false blessings. His armor still glowed with holy fire. His sword once tasted angel blood. When he walked into Nyxara's realm, even demons stepped aside, curious whether courage could insult eternity. Aurelian did not kneel. He marched toward the throne as storms parted for him, as floating towers trembled, as rivers of shadow bent away from his boots. He believed hell ruled by cruelty. He did not know hell ruled by memory. Nyxara remained seated. She did not summon guards. She did not raise her voice. She whispered his forgotten childhood name, the one only his mother ever used before war taught him to forget innocence. The word touched him, and his armor screamed. Light cracked. Metal wept. The sword fell from his hand like something suddenly ashamed of him. Aurelian tried to speak, but his voice collapsed under the weight of every village he burned while calling it justice. Nyxara leaned forward. Hell is not where you suffer, she said softly. Hell is where you finally understand. Aurelian saw children hiding beneath fire, mothers screaming into silence. His own reflection smiling while worlds died behind him. His courage dissolved into recognition, and slowly, he became part of her throne. Yet as the echoes faded, something deeper stirred inside Nyxara, a memory even hell had never dared to awaken. Long before storms froze in place, before crowns and judgment and silence, Nyxara had once been human. She lived under a sun that still believed kindness mattered. She laughed easily. She trusted deeply. And she loved one man with the kind of devotion that makes fate jealous. His name was Elian. Elian feared nothing except losing her. They promised each other forever in a world that never gives permission for eternity. Then death, patient and cruel, waited for the right night. Elian never came home. They found him where the river met shadow, his eyes still open, as if shocked that life could abandon him without warning. Nyxara screamed into heaven until her voice bled. Heaven did not answer. She begged the priests. They said the dead do not return. She begged the gods. They said love does not bargain. Nyxara refused surrender. When night fell, she walked into the forbidden valley where the veil between life and death thins like skin. She carried no weapons. Only grief sharpened into decision. The guardians of the threshold rose, ancient beings of shadow and bone. They tried to stop her, but Nyxara did not fight them. She tore their darkness away from them. And when she crossed into the underworld while still breathing, Hell felt something impossible, a living heartbeat inside death. The old lord of Hell awaited her, seated on molten eternity. His voice could break mountains. He demanded her soul as payment. Nyxara did not kneel. She placed Elian's memory between them like a blade and told him heaven had failed her, life had betrayed her, and Hell would either change or fall with her. The Lord laughed until he looked into her eyes. He summoned oceans of suffering. Nyxara walked through them without screaming. He showed her visions of endless torment. She answered with silence, the silence of someone who already lost everything. When he reached in her chest to tear out her soul, he found nothing to hold. Her heart had already died beside Elian. Hell understood something then. Nyxara could not be punished. The crown fell. The old god dissolved into forgotten echoes. And Nyxara rose, not as demon, not as monster, but as ruler of eternity. Now she walked endless corridors of bone and black glass. Demons feared her calm more than rage. Storms paused when she passed. Yet sometimes she stood before pools of memory water where reflections showed not a queen, not a goddess, but a woman kneeling beside a dead lover, still believing grief might heal. In Hell, sensing weakness, prepared its next test. One cycle, a soul arrived unlike the rest. He did not kneel. He did not scream. He looked at Nyxara and whispered, Elian. The sound cut through her like a forgotten heartbeat. Hell trembled. The soul claimed he carried Elian's final thoughts across death, that Elian waited, that love had not ended. Each word was poison mixed with hope. Nyxara felt something move inside her, a sensation she buried beneath centuries of judgment. She imprisoned the soul, but memory does not obey orders. That night, storms began moving again. Fires whispered, towers drifted, souls remembered who they were before punishment. Chains weakened. Hell began dreaming, and Hell was never meant to dream. Nyxara confronted the soul at the edge of the abyss where forgotten gods dissolve. He smiled. Even Hell cannot erase love. She stood between power and humanity, queen and woman, goddess and memory. If she killed him, Hell would remain eternal and silent. If she listened, Hell would awaken. Nyxara lifted her hand and hesitated. For the first time in 1,000 years, the goddess of Hell feared not destruction, but life. She whispered Elian's name into the storm. Then she made her choice. Nyxara did not destroy the soul. She destroyed the throne. The crown shattered. Storms exploded into motion. Hell gasped, suddenly breathing emotion into its bones. Nyxara stepped into the abyss, carrying Elian's echo like fragile fire in endless dark. And Hell followed her. Without Nyxara, Hell changed. Souls no longer suffered quietly. They remembered loudly. Chains fell where fear once ruled. Demons argued, uncertain who governed now. Law, chaos, or the echo of a queen who chose love over dominion. Some discovered strange freedom. Not release, but awakening. Pain transformed into curiosity. Regret into awareness. Hell had not ended. It had evolved. Storms sometimes paused, and a whisper traveled through corridors of bone. Elian, some swore they saw a woman walking through darkness, not as goddess, not as queen, but as lovers searching eternity. And Hell learned the most dangerous truth of all. Love does not weaken power. It rewrites it. Some stories do not finish when a voice fades. They wait inside silence, inside memory, inside the places you avoid in your own mind. And if you ever feel the dark breathing back at you, remember, even hell once learned how to love. Until next time, stay curious and stay beyond the ordinary.